I appreciate that performances and results are kind of two different things. When you've lost a game, though, having had a run of wins, does the priority simply become to try and respond to that and try and turn your next opportunity, which is Saturday against Walsall, into 3 points?
It has to, Dan, doesn't it? You know, we have been on a good run. Won the last 3, and then obviously I thought we played really well at times against MK Dons. Thought we had more of the, well, they had, I think 5% or 10%, whatever it is, more of the ball. I thought we were more effective going forward with it and what we tried to do. So it's just about now your next game and just getting back on, you know, trying to get a winning streak again.
When you've tasted it, when you've had 3 points, does that make you more hungry for it? Do you develop a taste for it?
Well, yeah, because you know what winning's about. So I know what winning was about when I was a player. All the dressing room knows what winning's about now because they've won the last 3. So, you know, they want more of it. And we challenged them that after we'd won the Morecambe game, so we got the first one out the way. And we said, you know, that's the feeling that you want every single week, you know, whether it's a Saturday, whether it's a Tuesday. So that was the challenge. That was ongoing on the training ground. And obviously you go into the next opponent, whoever that is. And then, you know, we got over the line again, and then we done it again. And then, you know, we were close to it. You know, yeah, it was a start that we didn't really want. But, you know, as I said about Zach Orr, he's been immense since he's come on loan for us. He's done an outstanding job. He doesn't mean to do what he does. But we've moved on. We've moved on from it. Now we took all the positives from it. We've gone over a few little bits. And then we've moved on to Walsall. Yeah,
just on Zach Orr, for a young guy in his first season in the Football League, to have been an ever-present in the league for you, started every game, completed every 90 minutes, how quickly is he learning and how quickly is he having to learn? And I guess on the flip side of that, how much faith are you putting in him to select him all the time?
Well, he has, because his performances get him the shirt. So, you know, when we do take these lads on loan from the clubs that we get them from, is we do put our faith in them, and then we do know that they're going to make mistakes, and they are young men, so they're going to, you know, make mistakes on the job. They're going to learn on the job, and he's learning more than what he's doing in making mistakes. And we could see that in day one. I've seen it on all his clips before we took him. Then I've seen it in day one, the first pre-season game we had against Blackburn. He was up against Sammy Smoddocks, who's in the Premiership. He was up against Gallagher. So, you know, and it's 2 different types of challenges for him. And he come through that 45 that he played that day really well, you know, and all he's done is got stronger and stronger and stronger since, you know, his time of his headers. He understands the physicality of the game now in terms of what he's up against week in, week out. He's getting better at that. And there is going to be mistakes in him, and hopefully, you know, the ones that he makes now don't cost us like they did the other day. But, you know, we still had 90-odd minutes to still try and win that game, so that's not down to Zach. There was a factor, it influenced the game. You know, the first goal had an influence on the game. It didn't take us out of our strides, it knocked us sideways. We carried on trying to do what the game plan was against MK Dons. And as I said, I thought the stats, and that's when you look at the stats to say, you know, well, okay, we've lost the game, but how well did we do? And I thought we'd done well in terms of the attacking sense going forward, and we just needed to score another goal to get a point, a well-deserved point, I think.
I'll ask you about the attacking in a minute. Just at the other end of the pitch, I think there's only 2 teams in the league have conceded more league goals than you so far. Do you feel like that side of the game has been improving?
Definitely. 100% it's been improved. You know, whether who's played in goal, whether who's played at the back, whether it's a back 4 or a back 5, back 6 with the keeper. So you can see that. You can see, you know, people were saying about, you know, the last 5 minutes. You can see mentally that's changed. So you can see the team are tougher, sort of to beat, if you like. And you know, the clean sheet that we had as well. That was another tick that we ticked the box with. So, you know, it's ongoing, and yet you can see the improvement in that.
We talked a bit after the clean sheet against Barrow about the confidence it would give the team. Obviously, didn't keep a clean sheet following that up in the midweek game. To follow it up at home and get another one here, what would that mean?
I mean, everything. As I said, it's like clean sheets when you leagues, don't they? You know, so if you can keep them at one end and score at the other end, it's a recipe for success. And then you can analyse how you play, and all the stats and everything else will go with it. But you know, the biggest stat I've said before is the scoreline, and hopefully that, you know, we can get that scoreline right tomorrow.
Because you have been scoring at the other end. It's 7 games in a row in all competitions. I think that you have scored at least once. Is it just about finding the right balance and getting that right sort of between one end of the pitch and the other?
Well, it has. No matter who it is, or, you know, what team, you have to have that balance right at both ends. So you've got to score and you've got to keep them out, and then hopefully then you go and win the game. That's so you've got to be sound defensively, and you've got to be a threat going forward. And if you can get a bit of luck in terms of in the box, and you're taking your chances when you should take your chances, then hopefully, you know, that you should win the game.
Do you expect this game, if not open, to be one that has goals in it? Because you've been scoring regularly. Walsall have scored a lot. They've also conceded quite a lot as well.
They have, yeah. I mean, I think they've won 2 in the last 4. So, you know, we know what we're dealing with. You know how they play. They've got some really good players, some talented players. They are where they are in the league for a reason, because they got the results. I think they're similar to us, the way they go about things. I think, you know, they set traps. I think they press really well. And I think they put you on the back foot and they get in the front foot and go forward. And as you've just touched on, then they score goals as well. So we've got to be on our toes tomorrow, and we will. When
you face a team that's got a good goal-scoring record, is sometimes attack the best form of defence, causing them problems before they can cause you them?
Well, yeah, that would help if you can do that. But I think you've just got to have a game plan against them, sort of them in and out of possession, how you're going to go about it. And hopefully that your plan works instead of theirs.
Just as far as what's available to you squad-wise, how are you looking with... There's a couple of longer-term ones I appreciate, but there's been a couple who've been sort of just on the fringes. Mooney and Keneally have been talked about. Just niggly ones. I mean, they're out running on the grass, so we'll see how they are tomorrow. You know, so they could come back in the frame, so we'll just have to see how they are. They're just niggly ones that are just there, and you don't want them to be something, you know, bigger. So we just have to manage that. Is that something you've learned, John, as a club from the last couple of seasons? This almost overly cautious approach to these small injuries. In the past, maybe they would have played and had a relapse and you'd have lost them for longer, and now you're not doing that? Well, I think so. I think it all depends where you are in the league and the position and the circumstance and everything else with it. But I think if, you know, players ultimately know their own bodies as well. So, you know, you go off what they say and what have you. And if you get all of it, like medical advice, you know, if they've had scans and everything else that go with it and stuff, then, you know, they push you in the right direction. But ultimately, I just think if anyone feels anything, I think the squad's strong enough for anyone just to go replace them players. So take it out of their hands and say, right, well, if you've got to miss 1 or 2 games, then you'd have to, rather than missing like 2 or 3 months. How much have players coming in responded? I'm thinking, obviously, a couple of individuals I mentioned there. You know, Liam Coyle's come into the team, Jimmy Knowles came into the team. But even someone like Ben Woods and Nelson Cumbani being absent for a different reason because of the loan situation. Yeah. Does that send a message to everybody in the squad that it could be you, whether you're the one going out or the one coming in? Well, it is, and that's what we've been banging the drum on all the time to the players, that you have to be ready. You know, with the games that we play behind closed doors and the under-21 games, you've like the cup games and that. So they have to be ready, and, you know, some of them have proved right now that they are ready. Some of them have kept the shirt in the first team, which is great. And the ones that are behind, they've got to prove that they're ready, and they're training really well. And as you just said there a second ago, the only one I feel sorry for is Nelson, because of the way the situation is. We need these players in the certain positions, and unfortunately we've just got players that can just play that role just now. But that could change. You know. So Nelson's been absolutely outstanding. He's been first class on the train. His attitude's been top drawer. So there's nothing. I couldn't knock the kid. He's got an unbelievable attitude. His desire to want to learn, to want to get better, is second to none. So, you know, he needs credit for that. How hard to balance is that loans thing then? Because obviously the player in question will want to be involved, and it's an administrative reason why he can't be. And I guess also the bigger picture and the relationship with his parent club, because they'll want him to play as well. Well, that's what he's come here to do, to play. So he has played, you know, quite a few games since he's come. So, and I said, unfortunately, he was the one that had to miss out. I think it was Gillingham away, the first one he's missed out. And the lads obviously went on and won the game, because, you know, he's played against Morecambe and done really well, and we won that game. So, but something had to change, something had to give. From a tactical point of view, that's why we had to, or that's why we did leave Nelson out, and he totally understands. And as I said, his attitude's been first class.